159 Jones versus Sonnen conference call. At this time, we're still admitting additional participants and plan to be underway shortly. We appreciate your patience and please continue to hold. Participants and plan to be underway shortly. We appreciate your patience and please continue to hold.
And welcome to the Zubba LLC UFC 159 Jones versus Sonnen conference call. Today's conference is being recorded. At this time, for opening remarks and introductions, I would like to turn the conference over to Dave Schaller. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 159 Media Conference Call. UFC 159 takes place this Saturday from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Today we are joined on the call by UFC light heavyweight champion Jon Jones, challenger Chael Sonnen, and top middleweights Alan Belcher and Michael Bisping. UFC President Dana White is on a plane and will be unable to make this call. Also, folks, several of our main event competitors are taking planes today to the East Coast. So today's call lasts about 35 minutes. We do encourage you to get your questions in when you are prompted. At this time, let's go ahead and take the first question.
Thank you. As a reminder, if you would like to ask a question, please signal by pressing *1 on your telephone keypad. If you're using a speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Once again, that's *1 to ask a question, and we'll go first to AJ Perez with ForkSports.com.
Hey, this is for Chael. Dana White told us a few days ago that you kind of had a run-in with a fan at the tough finale. Could you talk a little bit about that and what transpired, kind of how that went down?
You know, I really can't. I don't know a ton about it. There was a lot of people around, and my focus was just in 5 different directions, including on him. Ultimately, he got upset and he went to take a punch and security grabbed him and they took him out. I didn't miss a beat. I mean, I was doing a few other things. I didn't like seeing him have to leave. He had very expensive and good seats, and I wish he would have seen the show. But at the same time, he can't do that behavior.
Exactly. Do you see yourself? I know you don't want to become a target, but obviously you're very well spoken and you can promote. And sometimes, I guess, maybe in this case, it rubs someone the wrong way. Do you ever think about that perception that maybe some people have of you?
Well, I don't promote fights, but I do pick fights, and yes, I do. I am well aware of that perception, and I enjoy it.
And we'll take our next question from Michael Cohen with the Syracuse Post-Standard.
Hey, this question is for John. John, this is about as close as you can get to fighting in your home state. You know, what would it mean if you could ever eventually fight in New York and have your home fans see you up close?
Oh man, Madison Square Garden is it's like the mecca place for fighting, I believe. You know, like Muhammad Ali got to fight there. Mike Tyson got to fight there. And I think it's like I just think it's like a surreal place to be. I'm actually honored that I get to do the open workouts at the Garden because it's just a dream of mine. So to fight there, it would mean a lot to me, and can't wait for the possibility.
With the success that you and your brothers have had, what's the support been like in the central New York area with all the ties to Syracuse and Binghamton and Rochester?
Man, it's phenomenal, man. It's surreal. You know, sometimes I don't think I realize how much of what we have. You know, I don't really. You know, it's huge. You know, it's bigger than I'm able to like stop and realize. And it's a great thing. You know, I think when I retire from fighting, I'll open a gym probably in the Rochester area because it is where I was born, and I think I have a pretty successful program. So yeah, it's overwhelming. You know, Syracuse working heavily, so I get the football fans supporting me, and they get MMA fans. It's a lot of cross marketing going on between me and my brothers.
And last one, real quick, John. You know, this is the time of year again where the state assembly has that chance to pass the vote. You know, and you know, there's been talk of that Madison Square Garden fight in November. What's your thought process this time around? You really hoping this is it?
Yeah, man, it will be awesome if they go through with it. And if I come out of this fight unscathed, I would love and get right back to camp and you know be active.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, thank you.
As a reminder to our phone audience, that is *1 at this time if you have any questions. And we'll go next to Damon Martin with BleacherReport.com.
Yeah, first question is for John. You know, John, throughout your career, you've really avoided getting into emotional battles with your opponents, no matter how much they tried to goad you in, outside of maybe Rashad Evans, and we kind of know why that happened. Has this fight with Chael ever become personal? I know Dana made that comment, I think it was last week, where he said you told him you really wanted to hurt Chael and things like that. Can you kind of expand and talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I really don't want to talk about the comment. It's something that I said. But my emotions aren't like overly involved. Well, actually, no, they're really not. You know, I've studied Chael a lot. I study his interviews. I study his personality and everything. And you know, he's being himself. I'm comfortable with him. I've familiarized myself with who he is and what he needs to do and what he tries to be. And it is just another situation. When I get in the fight, you know, I never fight over aggressively. I always stay calm and relaxed and composed, and that's what it'll be. You know, no matter what I say before a fight, what my opponent says, no matter if I appear to let someone in my head, which I enjoy doing, because I mean that's what the project is. You know, it's a huge homework assignment that I have, so he should be in my head. But when it comes to fight night, you know, it's relaxation, it's beauty, it's peace, it's martial arts. It's what God told me on this planet to do.
And you've said, obviously, in the past that you have long-term goals of, you know, becoming one of the greatest champions, if not the greatest champion in the past, or in the future, excuse me. What do you feel like the fight with Chael does for your legacy?
This fight with Chael, it ties me with Tito Ortiz.
As far as the career, the greatest light heavyweight champion, as far as career defenses?
Yeah.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you for calling. May I have the name of the conference you're joining? And I do apologize. I will need to take your info again for the screen I'm on. May I please have your... And let me quickly verify that back. That's Wade, W as in William, A, D as in David, E as in Edward. Last name you said was Esk, E as in Edward. Oh, Echo Charlie Kilo? I'm so sorry. I do need to still verify. Company is M as in Mary, M as in Mary, A as in Apple. Second word is heat. Thank you. And is that one word or two? Mary, Mary, Alpha for the first one. Thank you. And I'll join you to the UFC 159 Jones versus Sonnen conference call. You're welcome.
Show people I do.
Excellent, John. And question for Chael. Chael, obviously there's been a lot of talk about this fight, both good and bad, as it relates to, you're challenging John. Do you feel any pressure at all to really silence the critics that say that you really don't deserve to be in there with John?
Yeah. There's always pressure. That pressure is earned. If you've never done anything in this sport, you're not going to have any pressure. If you've won a whole bunch of fights and been a marquee fighter, you're going to move to the top. I want to talk about something John said earlier, though. I always find it, as great as John is, I don't think he understands how good he is. For him to pay tribute to Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali earlier was a very nice thing for him to do. The reality is John Jones could beat up Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali in the same day. And when he says he wants to be the best ever, John, newsflash, buddy, you are the best. And as far as tying Tito Ortiz, yeah, maybe he had a couple of more wins, but he hasn't had the competition that you faced. And, that's not a secret. I'm not going to degrade John or what he's done. He's the world champion. He's the best in the weight class, and he's the best the weight class has ever seen. So if you're asking me if I feel pressure, yeah, there's a lot of pressure. This is a tough guy in a tough environment, but, that's the sport. That's what it is. And you're saying I don't deserve the shot or however. Look, I don't earn title shots. Title shots earn me. I don't go after main events. Main events come after me. And that's it. And whether I earned it or not or deserve it, I'm a Republican. I don't talk in those terms. I take what I want, and that's it.
All right, excellent, Joe. Thanks, guys.
As a reminder to our phone audience, that is *1 at this time if you have any questions. And we'll go next to Steven Morocco with MMAJunkie.com.
Hey, John. Pretty nice things Chael just had to say about you. What do you make of those? You think they're genuine, or you think he's trying to sort of play games?
I can't afford to worry or feel any type of feelings of him being kind or anything. The thought of someone taking my nickname away from me, and that nickname is Champs, I take that very personal. I take that with a grain of salt. And that's the way I need to keep my attitude. I need to keep my focus. Someone's trying to take away my dream. The thought of going home without my belt, it keeps me angry. And so I care if someone says something nice about me.
And a quick follow-up. Do you have any number in mind when you think of the number of title defenses you'd like to have as champion before you maybe start to think about other things? For instance, maybe a move up to the heavyweight division?
Well, one thing I've been contemplating is first tying Tito Ortiz, and then establishing that record of the most wins in my next fight, maybe in November, and after that fight in November, entertaining super fights and heavyweight fights.
would the Anderson Silva fight be the first super fight you'd target?
I said what I said.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
As a reminder, if you have a question, please press star 1. We'll go next to Jordan Curran with MMA Plus.
Hi, this is MMA Plus. I've just got a quick question for Chael. Chael, I understand you've been doing a lot of training with Luke Barnett recently. He's a big name over here in UK MMA. Just wondering if you could talk about the work you've been doing with him.
Yeah, I've worked out with him every day. I think I'm hearing an English accent there. We also got John McGuire out here in Oregon. And, yeah, we're working hard. You know, I never thought that a reach mattered, but it's a problem. You know, I felt it going with Luke, and there is something there, and I'm glad I got the work in. But, yeah, he's great. He works hard. He goes twice a day, every day. There's really nothing more you can ask for a workout partner.
Thanks a lot. That's great.
And we'll take our next question from Dave Diebert with Post Media News.
Hi, you guys. Thanks for the call. First one from Michael. You talked recently about some nerve issues in your neck, in your arm, and I'm wondering how you're doing health-wise at this point, going into the fight.
Health-wise, going into this fight, I'm fantastic. You know, fighters train hard, you know, and we accumulate injuries over the years, but nothing that is going to stop me from destroying Alan Belcher come next Saturday night. I've had a great camp, feel fantastic. Yes, you know, as I said, all fighters kind of carry a couple of injuries here and there, but there's nothing that's going to hinder my performance and nothing on this planet that is going to help Alan Belcher.
What do you see a win if it were to come on Saturday? What does that do for you in the division?
Well, obviously it puts me back in the win column. It eradicates my last loss. You know, you're only as good as your last fight, and my last fight was a loss, and I don't take that too well. You know, I want to win fights. I'm a natural competitor, and a win over Alan Belcher puts me back in the win column. As I say, I get redemption from my last fight. It's a win over a top 10 opponent, and it gets me back in the mix for the title shot. You know, that's what I want. And then as long as there's life in my body, I will continue to try and get that title shot. You know, I'm a fighter. I want to be the world champion, and I ain't stopping as long as my body can do it. I'm going to keep trying.
All right, thank you, Michael. Alan, what I guess along those same thought process, what does a win over Michael do for you?
It puts me back in the top of the division, and yeah, we're both coming off losses. We both have losses in our career, wins in our career, and now we're going to see who the best is out of us too. I don't care. I'm not really thinking about the ranks. I'm not thinking about what the fans think or about how confident Michael is. I'm just thinking about beating him Saturday night.
Let me just add to that. A win over me for Alan Belcher will be by far the biggest win of his pathetic career.
Okay.
There you go. No one gives a fuck about Alan Belcher.
Yeah, that's right. So you better not lose to me, otherwise.
Hey, bro, I ain't gonna lose to you, mate. It's in the bag. All I've got to do is it's a formality. I just got to show up, slap your little face, take my check, and go home.
Yeah, we'll see Saturday night.
Hey, we bloody will, mate, because you know it's coming, big man.
Yep, I know exactly what's coming.
Yeah.
Alan, I guess Michael, he always, very very colorful. Always is going into his fights. Is it going to be difficult, separating, any emotions, and staying calm in the cage and not letting, any lingering emotions affect you?
The question for me?
Yeah.
You're using too many big words there. You got to simplify it for Alan.
Yeah, no, it is emotional for me, and that's whenever I perform at my highest. I have the most pressure on me. I'm the most nervous for this fight ever. The only fights that I've ever lost are the fights that I wasn't very excited for. So this one, I want it worse than any fight in my whole career, and I'm focused on it, and I'll perform at my highest.
Okay, thanks. And if I could, just one quick one for Chael. You mentioned earlier how you think John. I don't know if you were talking just the light heavyweight division or overall when you said best ever. But you've looked at him a lot leading up to this. You've been in the cage twice with Anderson. Who's the better of the two?
It's a tough sell, man. Look, here's the reality with Anderson. I stomped that guy. And you can pick up his little arm as many times as you want and call him the winner, but the fact is I whipped his ass for 30 minutes. He got the jump on me for less than 30 seconds. He never knocked me down. I fell down. They say Anderson's the best pound for pound. He's not the best round for round. I have 3 10-8 rounds in my entire career. I fought 49 men. 3 rounds of my whole life are 10-8. That's gymnastics equivalent to a perfect 10. It doesn't happen in this sport. I doubt anyone on this call even has a 10-8 round. I got 3 of them. They're all against Anderson Silva. So if you think John and Anderson are even close, I will run through John because I ran through Anderson. Now, I don't think they're close. I think John is considerably better than Anderson. But sometimes I hear that I don't deserve this fight or I'm not the right guy, but then I hear that Anderson could beat him. Well, you got to be kidding me. I stomped Anderson Silva twice.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, you guys.
We'll go next to Zeus King with MMAopinion.co.uk.
My first question is for Chael. Your catchphrase, "Beat me if you can." Do you like that more to the Portland's grappler or to Taz from ECW?
Let me start with giving you a little business advice. Do not have a website called blah-blah-blah.com/UK. You need to simplify things. And secondly, I'm going to give that to the grappler. His name is Len Denton, and good for you for recognizing it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate the business advice.
You're very welcome.
The next one for Alan Belcher. A lot of smack talk here from Michael. On one video interview, he's saying that he would love nothing better than to get a hold of you in his Muay Thai versus yours. What do you say to that?
I welcome it. I mean, what am I supposed to say to it? I mean, my Muay Thai versus Michael Bisping, I'm going to sit here and say that I'm better than he is, but no one's going to know until Saturday night.
Excellent. And then finally, for John Jones, do you ever look at the world around you and see all the haters and just dismiss it all? Because I mean, there's a lot of people who just focus on all your negatives and not your positives. Do you just get through every day just not worrying about what they think?
Yeah, I can't afford to worry about what people think. I'm doing something that's pretty. I think it's pretty extraordinary what I've done, and a lot of people aren't going to be happy for you. My dad taught me that at a young age. He always said, people aren't going to be happy for you guys' success. And that's how it works. I'm comfortable with it. Another thing is, I've beaten a lot of people's favorite fighter. Every training camp I have, I love my Twitter. And Rampage has way more fans than I do. Vitor Belfort has way more fans than I do. Shogun Hula has way more fans. Lyoto, I think we're about neck and neck. But anyways, I'm the new guy, So, of course, people want to see the new guy lose to the guy they've been loving for years. And when I beat, people's heroes back to back to back, it's very well. People, and then, the fast climb, people love to see a guy get built up to be broken down. I think that's why a lot of people enjoyed my DWI so much. So, it happens. I'm comfortable with it. When I come home to a beautiful house and my family being happy, it makes it all worth it. So, people can hate me as much as they want. My family's happy. I think I have the best job in the world, and they're watching the fight. So it all it all pays off. And they're like free advertisement. You know, they talk about me all day and claim they hate me, but they can't stop tweeting me or thinking about me. So it's like free advertisement for me. So it's pretty cool.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you answering my questions.
We'll go next to Brad Johnson with 1510 Radio.
Hi, yes. This question is for John Jones. Since tennis in Boston, in light of the recent events, I know that your brother Chandler is a part of the New England Patriots. Do you plan to dedicate or participate in any of thoughts during the fight or before the fight for the people of Boston?
No, I wasn't planning on it. You know, this is pretty first subject, and I got to be pretty careful on how I word this. But you know, a lot of times, I think terrorists they do things to get you know, and I really don't, you know, where I feel terrible about the loss of that, you know, people's lives, and I think it was a terrible thing. I try not to talk about the bad things that happens in the world, because that's what the terrorists want. They want to be on all these news channels. They want to be talked about, and they want to be famous, and they want this glorification for what they did. And I don't think talking about it. I think talking about it is exactly what they want. So the way I deal with it is I pray for the families, and that's it. I pray for the families, and you know, and that's about it.
Hey, thank you so much for that. And then, John, just a quick follow-up question. Do you train any different for defense titles in your camp, or do you go into it as just another fight?
I go into it as it's just another fight. You know, I feel like I've had the toughest work schedule out of anyone in the UFC in the past several years. You know, if you look at all the guys I fought, every fight of mine has been the number one contender for 2 years now. So I've learned to get my emotions out of the way and just to train extremely hard and approach it like another fight. Now, when I say it's another fight, obviously there's tactics that are always different. For example, the jiu-jitsu that I've been working on in this camp, and fighting another southpaw. I've gotten a lot better against southpaw. You know, Vitor fight, I had one arm. This time I have two arms, so I'm excited to see myself perform, because they say you're only as good as your last fight, and I felt like I was better than that. But anyways, yeah, I'm working different tactics, but it's just another fight, another number one contender, another one of the toughest guys in the world.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll go next to Franklin McNeil with ESPN.
And my question is for John. First of all, how are you, man? I haven't talked to you in a little bit.
Good, Franklin. Good to hear your voice.
All right, man. Hey, I just want to know where you are mentally at this point in your career, your motivation. You know, you're the champion, and obviously you want to keep that title. I want to know, and you talk a little bit about your future without going into specifics, but is there more that you fight for now than just holding on to the belt? And what does this fight, what motivates you going into this fight?
Yeah, I definitely fight for more than just the belt. You know, I have two brothers that are in the NFL, and I think what drives me is not to be the lesser brother, not to be the brother who didn't quite make it, or the one who needs to borrow money 10 years from now. So that really, really drives me to show that a UFC fighter can have the type of success that an NFL player could have, if not more. So that's one thing that drives me. Another thing is my kids. I have lots of kids, so I can't let them down. You know what I mean? And another thing that drives me is knowing that I inspire a lot of people. I get that a lot, and it's something that I have a lot of pride in. That's why I tweet a lot of motivational things and try to be positive, because you know I caught wind of guys like Tony Robbins and all these different motivational speakers, and they changed my life. They changed my psychology. And if I can quote something or say something that makes someone better, that means a lot to me, to be able to change someone's lives. I feel that that's what God put me on this earth to do. And I won't be able to do that if I don't have a platform. So being the champion means more than just having the belt. I have lots of purpose outside of myself.
You mentioned earlier about those who root against you for whatever reason. Does that motivate you as well?
Does the haters motivate me?
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way they do. I try to focus on the people who love me, but sometimes I find myself scanning through my Twitter just to see, who was hating on me for that day, because it motivates me. It definitely motivates me. It's funny because I get harassed every fight, and then after the fight, all those guys that go away, I don't know where, they eat all their words. So it motivates me to just keep proving people wrong. And, I have this psychology of just keeping my nose to the dirt and minding my own business and just outworking people.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Letting success speak for itself.
And we only have time for a few more questions. Please press star 1 if you would like to be placed into queue. And we'll go next to Rich Klein with FightDay.com.
Hey, Chael. Having gone through The Ultimate Fighter now with John, I was just wondering, how has your perception changed about John himself, and do you regret anything you've said about maybe his arrest or the 151 cancellation?
I don't regret anything ever, but as far as my perception of John, it changed in about 30 seconds. About the first 30 seconds I was around him, he's a good guy. He's a very nice guy. I hear people that insult him a lot, and I'm going, well, wait a second. This guy's the world champion. This guy's achieved what everybody else is dreaming of. I think people should copy John more than attempt to correct him. He cared a lot about his team. He took coaching very seriously. He was on time every time, and he inspired a bunch of guys that really needed it. He threw it. I cared about every one of those guys. I didn't care if they were on John's team or mine, and I got to know him, and they looked up to him, and he was there for them, and I think he should be credited for that. He was a nice person, and there's not a lot else I can say. As far as a competitive standpoint, I think I can beat him. I love watching him. I think he's very good, but I think I can beat him. I would like to say this, since I know the questions are winding down. I'm a big fan. Aside from being a fighter, I'm a fan, and it's very hard to focus on John because I am dying to see a Bisping and Belcher fight. I want to see the Bisping that beat the hell out of me for 3 rounds take on the Belcher that beat the hell out of Pelharis for 3 rounds. I think Belcher's performance against Pelharis was one of the single best performances of the entire year. And if those two guys, the right guys, show up, it's going to be awesome. If somebody asked Bisping about having some injuries earlier, and he quite candidly said, yeah, I got some injuries, but they're not going to stop me. Just to tell you a little about Mike Bisping, I was on the set of UFC Tonight 1 month ago. He shows up with stitches in his head, grabs a pair of scissors out of the drawer, and removes his own stitches before he goes on set because he thought they want to look good. So if you think that Michael Bisping needs to feel good to perform, you're wrong.
Muchas gracias.
And we'll go next to Michael Cohen with the Syracuse Post-Standard.
Hey, John, I'm curious, is there a different kind of buzz around this fight at all, given that it's a little bit closer to home? Have you noticed more of your buddies from the upstate area are into it because it's on the East Coast and as close to home as you can get right now?
Could you ask the question again? I'm sorry.
No problem. I'm just wondering if with this fight being as close to home as you can get at this point, if there's a little bit more buzz around it from some of your friends at home. Have you noticed that the East Coast is a little bit more into it because it's as close as you can get to your home state at this point?
Yeah, definitely. I kind of have that feeling that I had when I was going to fight Shogun. I was just extremely and dedicated. My weight right now, I'm like 216. because I'm training all the time, and after I eat, I go work out right after to burn the calories off. There's like a fire that I have to compete well up in that arena. You know, my friends and family are going to be there, front row, and a lot of people who can't afford to go will be able to drive down and get in that arena this time. So yeah, I have not pressure, but I have an eagerness to compete at a really high level. You know, a lot of people say I want the John Jones that fight against Shogun to come back, and I'll be in the same arena. You know, so I'll try to put that same energy and effort into just attacking and being aggressive and being smarter and competing clean and nice and dominant. Thanks, John.
That does conclude our question and answer session. I would now like to turn the conference back over to Steve Keogh for additional or closing remarks.
Thanks, Amber, and I want to thank all the fighters and media for joining the call today. Before leaving you, I just want to quickly review Fight Week schedule and remind you that full details are available on UFC.com. Wednesday, April 24th, we'll see two events take place in Manhattan. First, we have the Metro PCS UFC Herald Square Takeover all day from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. This event is free and open to the public and will feature Q&A sessions, appearances, UFC demonstrations with interactive workouts, and much, much more. Also, Fight Week will also mark the opening of the first UFC gym location in Manhattan. Full details are on UFC.com, as I mentioned. There will be a UFC VIP party at this gym on April 24th and free classes on April 25th. Thursday, April 25th, we'll see the UFC Ultimate Media Day availabilities take place at the Madison Square Gardens Theater lobby starting at 11 a.m. Attending will be the four fighters from today's call, as well as Roy Nelson and Czech Congo. This event will be closed to the public. Friday, of course, we'll see the weigh-ins, and these will take place at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, from the AmeriHealth Pavilion at the Prudential Center. The event is open to the public and will be preceded by the Fight Club Q&A at 2 p.m. Eastern, featuring UFC middleweight contender Chris Weidman. I want to thank everyone again for participating, and we'll see you later this week.
And those weigh-ins will be aired live on Fuel TV.
Thanks, Chael. They will. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. That does conclude our conference. You may now disconnect.
Bye, Alan.